call the meeting to order. Chris Berglund present. Pete Murphy.
Present.
Jason Brockway.
Present.
Cleena Archambault.
Present.
Great. Mary Foley.
Present.
Paul Bonson.
Present.
Great. And I don't think we have Ray on yet, so hopefully he'll join at some point, but great. So the meeting's now official. It was official before too, but now it's really official. So we'll first order of business is approval of the minutes of May 8th and May 15th, 2023. I'll take a motion for both sets, or if you would prefer one at a time.
Yeah, I think
or.
you need a roll call vote, Chris, so you're gonna have to do them one at a time.
Do them one at a time. All right, fine. So, well, let's take the minutes of May 8th. Pete, thank you so much for that preparation of those minutes. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 8th?
I make a motion to pass the minutes of May 8th.
Great, thank you, Mary. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Great, thanks, Paul. Any discussion? Again, I know there was a lot going on at that point when we were looking at votes for town meeting. And Pete, you did a great job capturing the discussions. So hearing no further discussion, all in favor. I'll start with Jason.
Aye.
Cleena.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Mary.
Aye.
Paul Bonson.
Aye.
Pete Murphy.
Aye.
And Chris Berglund, aye. So you got that, Pete?
Yes, I do.
Good. All right. Now we'll move on to the minutes of a brief but fun-packed meeting leading up to the town meeting on May 15th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 15th?
I motion to approve the minutes.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Mary Foley makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Paul. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Go ahead. Was there something? No. Oh, Ray's just hang on. Let's see if Ray wants to chime in on this. He's just joining in. We will let the minutes reflect that Ray is joining the meeting. Welcome, Ray.
Howdy.
All right, we're just we'll bring you up to date. We have a motion and a second on the minutes of, we just voted the minutes of May 8th. Hopefully those were all right with you. We had a motion and a second for the minutes of May 15th. And is there any further discussion on those minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Cleena?
Abstain.
Abstain. All right. Ray?
Yay.
Yeah, good. All right. Paul Bonson.
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Holy. Jason?
Aye.
Pete Murphy?
Yay.
Hey, and Chris Berglund is yay. All right. Thanks. You got that vote, Pete?
I do.
Good. All right, Ray, thanks for jumping in. Unfortunately, you missed the introductions of Cleena Archambault and Jason Brockway. So you missed their backgrounds. If you have any questions, now's the time. Otherwise, we'll let it be. Fire away.
Well, yeah, a 10-minute introduction with a full CV would be great. If you've got audio video, that's also better. Well, so welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining, and look forward to getting to know you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Ray.
Great. All right. Thanks. So we have the minutes done. So I guess the next piece of business I had on the agenda were just takeaways from May's town meeting. It was a little, it was actually the first town meeting that our town administrator had the full benefit of bringing a budget to the floor. I think it was great that the budget was, I think, went through without much discussion, actually, which is frankly kind of, I guess, surprising to all of us. I mean, how the thing that seemed to take up the most time was the minutes discussion. But that being said, I mean, I guess we did give a brief town report, kind of backpedaling, or I did a little, I don't know if backpedaling is the right word, but just a little, I guess, mid-course adjustment from last year when we thought everything was going pretty well. And now this year seems to be a little bit, the inflation has seemed to have taken us over, and not only the salaries area, but also in, insurances and all the different supply chain buckets that hit our town. So with that, we were, I think, a little bit more forewarning about the fact that we may be looking at some challenges to our 2025 budget next year when it comes to the revenue side, and to keep balance with the expense side. But that's, again, nothing certain. But I mean, I think that's just where we are, and I guess that's kind of where we want to at least take some notes as we move through the year as to how we're progressing. For Jason and Kalina, I mean, I did send out late. I mean, I've been out of town for a while, so I just got back last week. And Leslie had forwarded the town reports to us for through the month of May. They're basically fiscal year through May. She did that at the end of last month, which I've uploaded to the that Google Drive for review. Again, that's 11 out of the 12 months. So there's a fund report in there, which basically shows the balance of the town's funds. And then the other two reports, one's basically a revenue report and the other's an expense report. I also put a hard copy of Leslie's email because she always sends us her comments. And she didn't have much to be concerned about. But that said, I think we're probably going to be watching that a little closer this year as we prepare for the events of 2025. Unfortunately, I think what we have witnessed that we have not kept pace with revenue growth from the state side as we had hoped might be, or as the state leads all of us to believe in the media, because the Commonwealth is, touting how their budget, increased over 9%. We saw less than 1% of an increase of state aid for 2024. So FY 2024. So it's going to be interesting to see how that emerges. And then, and I'll also, maybe this is probably not a bad time. Well, actually, you know what? Let's take care of the business at hand, and we can come back and visit. I guess I'll leave that. I'll leave that with you just to think about for the next agenda item, and we can kind of come back and visit how we might proceed in the coming year. I will move down to the real purpose, the big purpose for tonight's meeting. As you're aware, the year-end transfers have to be done and implemented by the end of this week for fiscal year 2023, which just ended in June. So we have, and I've circulated to everybody. Leslie got them out to me on Friday. I shot them around this morning. Basically, the transfers that, and we'll take them in order. If I can figure out how to open it, I'll be in good shape. Yep. So first one on the docket is a request from the treasurer collector for a year-end budget adjustment, looking for a transfer of $1,500 from treasurer collector salaries and wages, and that would be going to the transfer to treasurer collector purchase services. The explanation is Kelly and Ryan, deputy collector, fees for the following time frames: 6/19 to 6/23, 6/26 to 6/30. Kelly and Ryan are the consultants for the firm that they outsource some of the assessor's duties to. I know there's been some turnover in that department in the last few months. And the justification is the other thing is tax title and attorney's fees. Tax title attorney took action on delinquent properties price increases for postage of our real estate, personal property, and excise mailing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And who is
Second.
that?
That was
Okay.
Ray.
That was right.
Okay,
Second.
Ray. Okay, makes the motion. That's great. And who had the second?
Pete.
Pete Murphy, second. All right, great. Any discussion? Everybody pretty much understand what's going on. I think it's just basically looking to take some of
Is
the
it-
excess from. Go ahead.
On a related matter, have they programmed in any of these differentials to the new operating budget for 2024?
Yeah, I think what happened really on the salaries and wages was there was a retirement and then a departure, which and I think what Jennifer did was she upgraded that position, the assistant collector, to help offset some of that in the coming year. So yes, there have been adjustments.
But it hasn't been incorporated into the operating budget. Do we know?
I believe so. Yes, because these the turnover happened sometime before year end, so it should have been taken up in the operating budget. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying almost aye. I think I have to do a roll call again, right? Okay, signify by saying aye. So Jason?
Aye.
All right, Cleena,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Pete Murphy,
Aye.
and Chris Berglund, aye. So that sounds like that's unanimous, Pete. All right, great, thanks all.
Excellent.
The next is a transfer for the assessor salaries, and it's coming from assessor salaries and wages. And again, this is a department that also had some turnover, and it is being transferred to police salaries and wages. It's $3,000. I think those of us who were on during the presentations by Chief Minnick were aware that there had been some overtime in the police department this year as a result of some turnover and some illness or whatever. So one of the officers had been out, injury. And I think that's what this is, just basically to correct that for this year. And I know we're all aware that he's adjusted his budget for next year. I should address this. So do we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion on this $3,000 transfer?
So moved.
I motion.
Okay. I'm going with Mary. You're the
Okay.
last one.
Okay.
right?
Okay, Mary's got the
Second,
motion.
Ray.
Ray was the second.
Okay.
All right. Further discussion?
So Chris, the explanation here is just a question of timing. So when the reimbursement comes in, is this just going to flow through to the general fund, or they're going to have a net positive balance on their budget?
That would be coming through the general fund, I believe.
Okay.
I believe, because it would be for a different budget year. All right. But I can check, Ray, to make sure, but I think that'll be
It
good.
seems like it should be the right answer. Just I didn't know if you had talked about it.
Check. No. I mean, I did check. The only thing I did check with the town administrator on was whether she was in concurred with all these recommended transfers, and she did. The only one she was not sure of was the library, she could not concur on the amount for the library, and Leslie was not in the office today, but I think we're gonna go with what they have on one line and neglected to put on the other, but I'll check and see if where these funds will come back when reimbursed. So I'll report back to you. All right. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and we'll have to go around the horn again. Pete Murphy,
Aye.
Jason Brockway,
Aye.
Cleena Archibald.
Aye.
All right, Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Ray Burkhalter,
Aye.
and Mary Foley,
Aye.
and Chris Berglund, aye. Great, unanimous. All right. Good, Pete, you got that? That's
Yes, sir.
good. Beautiful. Next one is a transfer from, it's actually requested by the building department. It is a transfer from building purchased services, $160. And it goes to building salaries and wages, $160. And it's just to basically balance out the wages owed for year end 6/30/23. Additional inspections were completed on 6/30/23 that must be paid in the fiscal year 23 budget. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right.
Was that Cleena? Great, thank you. We have a second.
Second.
All right, I don't know who you have there, Pete, but
Ray's face came up, so I put him down.
all right. Good. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions?
No.
Hearing none. Oh, go ahead. Was there?
No.
No? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and we'll go around the horn one last time. I will start just to mix it up. Chris Berglund, aye. Cleena,
Aye.
right, Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Ray Burkhalter,
Aye.
Mary Foley,
Aye.
Jason Brockway,
Aye.
Pete Murphy.
Aye.
Great, unanimous. Thank you all. All right, and last but not least, not last, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself here. Public Works, this is a request for transfer of $33,000 from highway salaries and wages to
Cool.
highway road improvements, $33,000. This one was a little different, and I reached out to our town administrator on this one, but before I get into the discussion, I'll just take a motion and a second so we can get it on the table.
So moved.
Great, thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Pete, you
Alright.
got all that?
I do.
Great. Okay, thanks. All right, so I reached out to Jennifer on this one just because I thought it was somewhat different that we were moving funds from our operating budget to kind of free up Chapter 90 funds that would normally go to satisfy this incur the expense of salaries and wages on these Chapter 90 projects. She said it's perfectly justified, and what it does is it basically frees up the Chapter 90 monies to be available for other road projects in town in the coming year. So there won't be.
The chapter 90 money flows over year to year. That's what's
Right.
happening, right? Whereas
That's
the
what
budget
yeah.
money goes away. So
Goes
that's what
away,
they're trying to do, is to keep the chapter money balance, savings balance up. right?
Correct. Keeping 33,000 available for road projects that otherwise would have gone back to free cash and not been available as a dedicated source of funds for road projects in town.
Okay.
So
Really just a way of keeping the money in-house within the DPW.
Mhm.
correct. Exactly right. Exactly right. So I don't know if we have any other questions on that, but I think it seems
No,
to
I
make
mean-
sense to me.
I mean, it would go back to free cash, which means it would be available for anything.
Correct.
But I think I'm okay with this. I think there's enough stuff that we need to do on the roads that it makes some sense to.
Yeah,
Try
I
to have
object to
more
the form
affordable.
personally. I really don't like doing it this way, but
Yeah.
they've got enough of a backlog of projects that it's a wash.
I agree with that. I think that's the key. It's backlog.
Right. And not that it mattered, not that it relates to this, but the good news is I saw I believe our new brush cutter out there the other day, and cutting down everything 2 inches and under. You know, it was doing quite the job.
But Chris, why was it driving through your backyard?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh man.
It was
Yeah.
just
well,
a test drive.
Yeah. After this summer, man, we could use it. I'll tell you.
Do we know how
Right.
much is in that chapter 90 fund?
I don't know. I don't know what else he has. Actually, it would probably be in one of the town in the fund balance.
Yeah,
But this is just basically reallocating it back to that. I can go. Let's see if I can find it in the.
Well,
I have
just
it, but there's 3 line items. I'm not sure which one it is.
I'm not sure either. Let's see if I can find it. Grants.
There's an undesignated fund under highway improvements that's 32.5.
That's probably it. I would say that's it, and that's what they're going to grab, because she probably didn't grab it for year end, and she
Yeah,
was
so
going
that-
to be doing that.
that 32.5 will roll over to next year then. Is that what we're saying? That's gonna happen.
Right.
The 33
Right.
too.
Yeah, it looks like it will be 33 additional, but that's a good question. And actually, I can clarify which one that was in.
Well, no, they're gonna use the 33 to pay current expenses.
Right.
And the
Yeah,
32
32.
roll over to next year.
Correct.
that- Chapter
Got
90
it.
fund.
Mhm.
That's the way it should go, because everything else seems to balance. So that would be
Right.
the one. So good catch. So all those in favor, since we have a motion and a second on the table, all in favor of this transfer, signify by saying aye, and I'll go through a roll call again. Pete Murphy,
Yeah, aye.
Aquina,
Aye.
Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Ray Burkalt,
Hi.
Mary Foley,
Aye.
Jason Brockway,
Aye.
and Chris Berglund, aye. Unanimous. That's great. Thanks all. Now I think I can jump ahead and say last but not least. Library is looking to move the sum of $1,225 from library purchase services, and I believe that same amount is going to library salaries, or at least that's the way I would hope to craft this vote. I certainly wouldn't want it to be any more or less. Transfer from the explanation is transfer from library purchase services to library salaries to cover end of year vacation buybacks per town's personnel bylaws. So do we have a motion on this transfer?
So moved.
Okay, Paul. I'll second.
Great. All right, Paul and Pete, thank you. So, as again, my understanding is that there are vacation buyback provisions of the personnel bylaws. So I think that's what Ann is trying to cover on this. I don't think it's a
And
huge.
really hard, very hard to predict this
Right.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Do we know if it's a mandatory buyback if you're over, are they capping vacation, or is this optional at the
I don't.
request of the employee?
I don't know, Ray. I don't know.
Me either.
Well,
Doesn't
at the
affect
end
my
of-
vote. I was just curious.
At the end of the year, if they haven't used the vacation, right, you almost have to do it, right? The buyback, or you're thinking they could donate it to the town? If they didn't
No,
use the,
well, there's going to be some roll forward that is going to be allowed, and it's just whether or not they cap the amount of the roll forward.
I don't know. I mean, we can certainly ask that question.
It doesn't affect my vote, Chris. Don't.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not, I agree.
All right. Yeah. I don't want to get too muddy on personnel policies. That's a whole nother area.
Yeah.
But anyways,
The
all right,
last
great.
time I was in the library, the staff was talking about the fact that they were working extra hours. And so I'm not surprised at this, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. We comfortable? We good to set forward for a vote here? Think
Yeah.
so, right? All right. Kalina Archibald, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, great. Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Ray Burkhalter,
Hi.
Jason Brockway,
Aye.
Mary Foley,
Aye.
Pete Murphy,
Aye.
and Chris Berglund, aye, unanimous. That's great. Thank you all. Good. So we'll take care of the business at hand here that we can now move on. So coming back to again takeaways from town meeting, and I think we just touched on that before we went to the votes. Ray, I know you had reached out, and I think this is a good time to bring this up as far as what our involvement might be going forward with the FISP committee. And if you want to elaborate that on that would be great. Maybe provide a little background for Kalina and Jason as to
Yeah.
some of the.
So we have obviously different groups in town with roles are maybe a little less defined than we might like. So the finance committee opines on pretty much anything. The capital investment board is there to approve certain capital purchases, but where you draw the line between the responsibility of the CIB and the FinCom and the facility implementations and strategic planning committee is very much unclear. So we know we have, Chris, what was the number we came up with? It's like $50 or $60 million worth of projects being sought for funding now.
Right.
You know, the schools have major upgrades. There's noises about new DPW building, a new fire department. And in the execution of our role as a capital investment board, without a roadmap of what the town's plans are for a fire station replacement, the future of the fire department, what we're going to do with some of these other buildings, it's difficult to assess whether or not we should fund some of the requests. You know, if we have, we're supposed to get a new fire engine, or it's up for renewal, what, next fiscal year, Chris?
2025, I think it was 25. Yeah.
At
I think that's
to the tune of $500,000 or $750,000. So it's a big purchase. So the question is, who drives some of these decisions, and what do we use as a roadmap that we follow? And it's been a little bit of a sore subject. Some members of the FISP really didn't want to take up this, feeling the school's needs are something the school should deal with. And they were very much split over how we should approach this. So Chris and I were trying to drive a conversation with them earlier in the year. And I think it was just beyond their bandwidth to deal with as we're coming up to town meeting. But it's something that's fundamentally in need of clarification. So I think there's a real need to have this meeting with the FISP and the Board of Selectmen in both roles, frankly. Because it's also going to be a question of delegating authority, which is complicated all by itself. So that's one
Yeah.
side. And then we've got the implications on operating budget with the restructuring of the fire department, a little bit of restructuring in the police department. Those have longstanding implications as well. So, as Chris put in his report to town meeting, we're really looking at two potential overrides, a debt exclusion and an operational. And I think we need an awful lot of communication over the next year to figure out where we're going to end up with that. So the question is, what do we do next?
I think this is so important. I watched the last FISP meeting, and the lack of clarity and the lack of sort of a roadmap or priorities was concerning. There is also I think it's called the Strategic Planning Committee that is on the website, but doesn't appear to have met in a long time. So I agree with you. I'm not sure what the right group is, but I think it's really important for our town and for us that we can help facilitate the town having, these are our priorities for the next few years, and here's how we evaluate each request that we get. We should have a scoring criteria that the requester fills out for us, and then we help assess, so we can make decisions that align to the goals and priorities of the town. Otherwise, we must be making them in a vacuum, which, is very challenging.
Yeah, I think it was well put. I guess in my opinion, our role at this point is just to facilitate the discussion. We don't have the power to affect change or create policy, but we certainly do have the power to get this in the public eye and to get it onto the agenda for the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator to discuss. And whatever happens next, I think really depends on how they react to that instigation.
Yep, right, and Clean, well put. I mean, I think I'm certainly willing to carry this message, because the other party we want obviously on board is our town administrator, and I think she is. But we have again a host of challenges from the financial standpoint, and I guess we really want to be looking at a strategic way to approach each one. And one of the things, again, the other piece, Ray, that we didn't talk about was the ADHD components of all of that audit that came out that touched all of the buildings, whether they're new, old, whatever. I mean, and there's
Yep.
going to be some dollar amount around those.
Chris,
so-
you said ADHD. You mean ADA? You're talking about
ADA, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Disability.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Boy,
Disability.
yeah. That's I'm feeling kind of ADHD right now, but that's that's it. But ADA. Thank you, Pete. So yeah, it's very important. So I guess, not I guess. I mean, what I would look for is something in the form of a vote from this body to direct us to again pursue this with the town administrator as well as the Board of Selectmen and the FISP. Board of Selectmen and the FISP are not exactly one and the same, but I think there's a lot of overlap there, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Ray? I think there's considerable.
Yeah, the entire Board of Selectmen is on the FISP plus
Yeah.
FinCom rep and one town rep.
Okay. Yeah.
And
so that would
Chris,
be.
I mean, Chris and Ray, Chris Ruccio was a key player, I thought, in the FISP, and now he's gone. What's the impact there?
Yeah, honestly, he was certainly a vocal member of the FISP. But he was more in the camp of let everybody deal with their own things, rather than
Okay.
let's come up with a unified plan.
So that may help Fisk move towards a better plan.
Well, Chris's points were reasonably well taken. It's just a question of coming to consensus on how we're going to handle it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can allocate that responsibility in a lot of different ways. But Chris, for your benefit as well, Jennifer reached out to me today, both on the capital spreadsheet and to note that it's on her radar to have meetings with the FISP, although there wasn't any specific content associated with it. The larger point of what she sent me, and I'm not quite sure why she sent it just to me, was that she sent the capital request forms out.
Oh, okay.
So she's trying to get some early action. I'm not quite sure exactly what the plan is.
Interesting. Okay, that is early. So, for to bring Jason and Clean up to date. I mean, the capital request forms typically. So, the way the town administrator has historically handled it is like in the fall, she will or he will tap the departments for upcoming capital and finance committee. Capital investment board is involved in this to try to keep an updated spreadsheet schedule of capital needs for each department, which has not been the easiest thing to do. As department heads have changed, so have capital needs, and basically sometimes more than once a year that happens. So it's very challenging. And I would suffice it to say, I think our capital spreadsheet is out of date, and we can certainly work to get it more up to date. But that said, these requests going out at this point it's early, so I don't know whether there's pushes there to get, I have no idea. And it just, to me, it's great. I can certainly reach out to Jennifer as well, but I think we really would. Instead of everybody getting bids for things that we may or may not be able to get done, it just might be worthwhile to kind of get an understanding as to where our priorities are. Because the other thing is looking at at least $20 million for school stuff. I mean, is that something that's on the table? Not on the table. I mean, the schools think they need to do that much. Do they not? I don't know. And if they don't, then that's obviously going to change the way that we look at approaching debt exclusion override, or again, pocketing in amortizing debt with new debt. How do we do that? Because that's going to be another piece that our finance department's going to have to wrestle with as we move forward. And unfortunately, as we mentioned in our town report, interest rates are no longer in the municipal interest rates are no longer in the 1.5% to 2% range. They're at least twice to three times of that. So it's going to make it a little more challenging. But
yeah, Chris, I would add in here, particularly with the schools, recurring theme with them has been they submit something for funding, then they are unclear as to what happens next. And if it were $100,000 item, okay, I think I'm pretty clear of that falls under the CIP purview. But when you're asking for 20 million, they're submitting it as a capital request. Whose responsibility does that fall into? So it's again a responsibility mapping function. Who's ultimately charged once it's submitted? Who pursues it?
Yep.
And I think it'd be nice to get ahead of that before we start getting complaints that they did exactly what they were supposed to do and then nothing happened. So be good to get ahead of that rather than be behind it.
Yep. Yeah, as we've been accused of before. So that's but yeah, correct. So let's so I guess what I would like is some and actually I'll just put together some kind of language here, but basically look for a motion for the finance committee to reach out and engage with the town administrator, FISP, and the Board of Selectmen on some kind of a session to determine next steps in the planning process for these capital budget items that we were made aware of, in the past year.
Yeah, I would add to that, Chris, instead of just the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Selectmen and the FISP.
Board of Selectmen and FISP, yeah. All right, do we have, does that sound good to everybody? I mean, I guess that's the way I would look at that. Pete, did you get that down pretty much as far as?
Well, I'm not sure what the wording is. Next steps with the FISP and select board in clarifying or finding a,
A strategy for funding.
clarifying. But it's really a matter of clarifying what's next. What are the, what's the sequence going to be here?
Right.
And what's
Right.
timing? Clarifying sequence and timing?
Yeah,
It's a
I think that,
process discussion, right? A process and responsibility discussion versus a specific request this year discussion.
right. And I think Clena, you hit the nail on the head. It's a process discussion because we're not able to pick and choose which, the next, what the next projects are and so forth. Let's come up with a process that best assesses that. And whether it be your scorecard, as you suggested, or something along those lines, just something that really
Right.
quantifies and,
So
Um,
next steps with FISP and select board and clarifying sequence and timing process for town capital needs.
sounds good.
Plus the
Sounds
town
good.
administrator.
Are you moving that, Paul?
Sure.
All right.
Second,
Great. All right, now we have a second. Further discussion? All right,
No.
hearing none. Go ahead. No,
Yeah,
no
no.
further.
We
oh,
need to
all
do
right.
it. Go.
Uh-oh. Pete wants to get to get to the walk, I can
Yeah,
tell.
things are happening here.
All right.
That's all right. Go.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Chris Berglund, aye. Clena,
Aye.
Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Ray Bacalt,
hi,
Mary Foley,
Aye.
Jason Brockway.
Aye.
Great. That's unanimous.
You didn't
Wonderful.
ask
Thanks.
me, Chris, but that's all right.
Oh, I
Aye,
didn't ask you. Oh, Pete Murphy, I'm sorry.
Hey,
Just,
but I'm
Pete,
on.
thanks. All right, unanimous.
right.
That's great. All right, so yeah, I'll reach out to Jennifer and see what we can say, that this is a very important item for us, first and foremost.
Chris,
Okay.
what is your inclination? Are you gonna request a joint meeting with the FinCom, the select board and the FISP? Or do you want to have, and just get it on the agenda for the FISP? What's your thinking?
I think I'd like to bounce it off Jennifer to see what her best strategic approach would be. I'm reluctant to plop myself in front of the select board and say, look, here's how we voted at our last meeting. We want to get going. I don't know how often the FISP meets and so forth, so I want to make sure that we get something moving quickly, and whether it's through Jennifer, whether it's through us, or through her, with members being present at a select board meeting, whatever it might be. I guess I'll get further clarification from her, because I do want to respect her position too on this. But if that's good, I'll certainly weigh back in with everybody at our next meeting.
Okay.
Is that good way? I mean, does that make sense?
Sure. No, I just
Sure.
wanted to hear what you were thinking.
I do have on here the agenda, election of officers for upcoming year. I'm not sure if we want to do that today or if we want to postpone that for another month to give everybody kind of some thought about what they might be interested in. Clena and Jason, what we have is we have a chair, we have a vice chair, we have a secretary clerk. All right, I think that's all we have. That's as I recall, that's it. We don't have any treasurer because we don't have any funds, so that's the good news. But not sure if that's something that we want to feel a great deal of energy to closing out tonight. We can certainly kick it
No,
down
we
to
don't,
next month.
we don't want to do that tonight because they've just joined.
Okay.
And you'll have time then to convince them.
Okay,
Step
good. Yeah, to show, and as witnessed by this meeting, there's not too much, too much heavy lifting involved, but all right. Thanks, Pete. We'll pass over that. That's
Well,
good.
Chris, at the moment, we don't have a vice chair. Is that correct?
I don't think we do. No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
I
Do you
think
want
Paul,
to,
Paul Redmond was our vice chair.
Paul
He had-
Redmond was, yes, and he resigned. So do we want to at least get a vice chair on the docket so we can move forward with that?
Yeah, I'll offer to take that slot if no one else is interested.
What?
All right. So I'll make a motion, Ray Burkhalter, jump in the vacant seat of vice chair. Do I have a second? All right, Paul, second.
All right.
And all right. So sorry, Pete, we're not going to get out of that easy. So
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
any
Paul.
further discussion or
No.
any additional nominations for vice chair for the time being?
I thought it was
Hearing,
very clever of Ray to volunteer for vice chair to avoid being named chair.
yeah,
This is
You know,
strategic
Everything's
move,
about
yeah.
strategy, Paul.
that's I like
What
that.
are the,
Yeah.
what
All
is the role of the vice chair? Other than if the chair is unavailable, I assume steps into that. Are there other
that's
responsibilities?
That's pretty much it at this point. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There are, again, probably a little bit more lifting than I mean, all of I think, and jump in with other members. I think we've all kind of distributed the workload pretty much evenly as we can, as best we can, respective of everyone's schedules. So it's not like, well, you're expected to do more as vice chair, expected to do more as secretary, whatever. But that said, from an official capacity, yes, you are the one that would be chairing the meeting in the absence of the chair. So, all right, well, we can keep you in mind for that. Queen, unless you'd like to add
Oh,
your
no,
name to
I'm
that.
good.
No, all right, all right. All right. I guess then hearing no further nominations, all those in favor of Ray as the vice chair signify by saying aye. Pete Murphy,
Yeah.
Paul Bonson,
Aye.
Mary Foley,
Aye.
Ray Burkhalter,
Aye.
Jason Brockway,
Aye.
Chris Berglund, aye. Kalina, did I get you?
No, aye.
Oh, okay, good.
No, you didn't get me. My vote is aye.
I know. All right, Ray, congratulations. There you go.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Time to
Bringing
party.
Ray back in from the cold.
Hey, that's right. Good. All right. So that'll what is a good meeting night for everyone? I mean, I would like to get it together and do it in person. I realize Zoom, and we do have the luxury of doing Zoom going forward, I believe, for another many months. But understanding the convenience of that, which is great. I mean, is there a time when everybody would be available for an evening meeting? And I'm thinking towards the end of August.
Not Tuesdays.
Not Tuesdays, okay?
Tuesdays are a bad day for me.
All right. Mary, how about you?
Monday's not bad.
What's that, Monday?
Monday's okay.
Okay. Kalina?
I'm out of town the week of the 21st.
Okay.
But any night the
Out of
week
town,
before should be
21st. So
okay.
you're back on the 28th?
Yes.
All right. And you're in town the week before?
Yeah.
All right. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty open. I can make anything work.
Okay. And Mondays are good for you?
Yep.
And Kalina, Monday's pretty good for you too, for the most part?
Yeah.
Other than when you're out of town? Yep. Everybody prefer Zoom or in
Monday,
person? What do you think?
for Zoom.
What's
Or
that?
others,
Everybody's preferring Zoom? All right. Paul, you good for Monday?
Sure, as long as I last.
As long Geez, don't even joke about that. Oh my
Hey,
God.
They're gonna last a long time.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna last,
definitely.
but I may be a resident of a different state by then.
All right. Well, no, not by next month. You won't be. That's it. No, you're still
All
in,
right.
still in
Not
the fold.
after
All right,
all
I'll
the
get back to.
disinformation I'm gonna put out there, Paul.
I'll get around to everybody. I know if Queen is away on the week of the 21st, maybe we'll look towards the 14th, if that's
Okay.
possible. And
August 14th.
Yeah, Monday the 14th. Okay.
all right, we'll put that in. And, great. Any other business or any other?
Now, move to adjourn.
All right.
Second,
Second.
Second, all right. Any further discussion on that? Hearing that, I don't think we need a voice vote on that. I think we just, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. That's great. And again,
Thank you,
welcome,
Chris.
Queena and Jason. Thanks so much.